What's up, beautiful people? I'm Erin, and this is Erin on Demand. And today we are talking about books. Now, if you know me, you know I am very much so a girl who starts a lot of books and possibly most of the time doesn't finish them. And it's something that I've been this way since I was a kid, let's be clear. But this year I am so committed to becoming a multimillionaire within a year, which means that I want my net worth to be worth at least $1 million. And I realize that there are things that I need to do in order to make that happen. I have some books that I have either started and not finished, have finished and want to reread, or have and never even started. And I think these are going to be some great books for me to read over the course of this upcoming year of me on this challenge. So I'm really excited to dive into a lot of these books because they are going to be my mentors. I feel like a lot of people ask me all the time, like, who are your mentors and all of these things. And I'm like, child, I have so many mentors through books, through podcasts, through social media that I just watch and I listen to their content. And I don't necessarily have to have a personal relationship with them to feel the connection and to really gain something from them. So these books are a wide range, okay? They're not all about making money, but they are about mindset shifts and even spiritual shifts and all of these different things. So let's get into it. Number one is Prosperity is Not Luck, It's Your Birthright. This is by Ruth Fernandez, Kingdom Principles According to Abraham's Covenant. I actually met Ruth at a conference a couple years ago, and she spoke, and this book was something that everyone who attended got. And oh my gosh, I was blown away. I read most of it, but she really talks about prosperity through the lens of how the Bible talks about money and prosperity, and she sprinkles in some of her stories in here. It's such a small book, and I haven't finished it yet, but it's one of those books where you kind of read a little chapter and then you have to digest it and come back to it. So I'm really excited to finish this one. This will probably take me like a day to finish. So I really want to get through that one. Highly recommend if you are a Christian. Ruth is super successful. I am so inspired by her. So that's book number one. Second book is The Circle Maker by Mark Batterson. It says praying circles around your biggest dreams and greatest fears. So on the back it says Batterson will teach you how to pray in a new way by drawing prayer circles around your dreams, your family, your problems, and most importantly, God's promises. In the process, you'll discover this simple yet life-changing truth. God honors bold prayers and bold prayers honor God. So I'm excited to dive into this. I haven't started this one, but I've had it for a very long time. I've heard great things. So I really want to read this one. And just like, I think it's really important outside of only focusing on money, is focusing on the intention and your why and, spiritual principles and understanding that like money through the lens of spirituality as well. So there's that. Book number 3, Atomic Habits. Now I have preached this book. I have recommended this book until I couldn't recommend it anymore. Like I have talked about this book so much. I got it honestly when it first came out, and I'm just such a fan of James Clear. This book, I finished this, I gulped it down. It was one of the most pivotal books in my journey because when I read it, I'm not crying, my eyes are just watering. When I read it, I actually was in transition of becoming an entrepreneur. So I was really applying a lot of these things, and I am a testament to the fact that the principles in this book really work. So I'm excited. I think especially now is a good time for me to read it. Like whenever I'm in transition, I kind of go back and look at some of the notes that I've highlighted because it's just one of those books that reminds you how much small little actions every day can make such a huge difference in your life. And now that I'm going to be a mom, I think it's a great one to revisit so that I can, maybe get a new routine down and try to figure out what that looks like in my new life. Okay, now we're getting into some money books. Okay, so this one is Never Split the Difference. It is Never Split the Difference, Negotiating as If Your Life Depended on It by Chris Voss with Tal Raz. And this book is so good. Oh my goodness. I probably read about 90% of this book a few years ago. And this approach to negotiation, you will be wowed. It's amazing how much you negotiate, not just money-wise, but in terms of your actual morals and having boundaries. And it kind of touches on that through the lens of negotiating and having conversations, how much you negotiate in just everyday conversations. And so I really, really, really love this book. I think this will be super helpful as we are building our real estate portfolio over the next year, any investments, also negotiating with brands, things like that. This book, such a great tool to have and to just kind of constantly refer back to. So I'm planning on revisiting this one as well. Okay. In the vein of boundaries, the next book is Set Boundaries, Find Peace. And this book is really good. I started it, but I haven't finished it yet. Surprise. A Guide to Reclaiming Yourself by Nedra Glover Tawwab. And she is such a powerhouse. I follow her on Instagram. And so I knew when she came out with the book, I had to have it. But this is just, I think this is such a great book for kind of similar to Never Split the Difference, although Never Split the Difference is a lot more tactical in like a negotiating point of view. This is more like how boundaries are good for you as the person, and like more of the mentality going in of setting boundaries and like kind of overcoming some of those people-pleasing tendencies, or just, I don't know. I feel like this one is more mindset. This one is a little bit more tactical. So both very, very helpful, but I really want to finish this one. I think this will be great, especially going into motherhood. But in general, just like if you're somebody who struggles with saying yes to everyone else and not saying yes to yourself enough, then this will be a great book. Next book is The Power of One More by Ed Mylett. I love Ed Mylett. It's the ultimate guide to happiness and success. I listen to his podcast. I love what he stands for. He's just great and very inspirational. But outside of that, he just makes things so simple in terms of how to actually achieve the life that you want without feeling so overwhelmed. And y'all know I'm all about that, especially with the top 3 method. But he just talks about like the power of one more, in terms of what if you spent one more minute doing the thing that you need to do? What about one more habit that you need to create? Or how do you give it one more try instead of thinking about the entire scope of what you're trying to do? I love Ed Mylett's like approach to becoming better and happier and all the things. Okay, next book is called The Gap and the Game. This one is by Dan Sullivan and Dr. Benjamin Hardy, The High Achiever's Guide to Happiness, Confidence, and Success. Now, I have started this book. This is one of my more recent purchases. So this book it's kind of a lot of self-help books. Let me just be clear. A lot of them have so much overlap that when I purchase them, I kind of get the gist from like the first couple chapters, which is why sometimes I don't end up finishing them. Now, when it is a really, really thought-provoking self-help book and has lots of tactical ideas in it, then I will feel more inclined to finish it. I feel like this book shares a lot of the overall concept right in the beginning. I do plan to finish it though, but I wanted to read this quick little thing on what the difference between being in the gap and being in the game is. It says, the start is where you were 90 days ago. The achieved is where you've actually achieved what you've actually achieved over the last 90 days. The ideal is where you wish you were. You have an ideal in your mind, and you're measuring yourself against your ideal rather than against the actual progress you've made. This is why you're unhappy with what you've done. And it's probably why you're unhappy with everything in your life. You're measuring yourself in the gap. So he says, for instance, you may be on your way to a concert and your spouse that you've been anticipating, but you're running 5 minutes late. If you're focused on and frustrated about those 5 minutes, you're in the gap. You're measuring yourself against the ideal. You're not actually living in the moment. All you have to do is shift to the gain and focus on the fact that you're having an exciting night. The whole night is a gain. If you focus on the gain, you'll be happy. In every circumstance you're either in the gap or the gain, but you can't be in both. That's essentially what that book is about. The next book is Get Good with Money by Tiffany Aliche, the Budgetnista. I actually had her speak in my membership. She is amazing. Oh my goodness. And this book is really, really good. We read it in my membership, but I think she has a lot of great concepts in here. Just overall, like it's kind of like a money Bible. And this is one that is extremely money focused, very tactical, very good, solid money book. A great book to constantly refer back to for like actual money questions, like IRAs, investments, how much to kind of pocket here and there, and like how to actually take risks with your money versus when to be more conservative. Like this book is gonna give you the money tips, okay? Straight money, okay? So these are the books that we are gonna finish over this next year, and I'm gonna go through like along the journey. I'm gonna be sharing probably in vlogs and stuff like my thoughts on some of these. I haven't decided what order I'm gonna read them in, but I'm gonna kind of see what speaks to me and try to just at least do 30 minutes to an hour of reading a day. I've been looking at my screen time on my phone and I'm like, oh my gosh, girl, you have got to get it together. So I'm going to try to swap at least 1 hour of screen time with 1 hour of reading. And you guys also, like, part of this too, which I will probably sprinkle in even though I didn't share, are novels and like reading for fun, because I feel like when you bombard yourself with all of these self-help info books, it can be very difficult to, one, apply everything, but for two, to like find the fun in reading, because they're not the most fun books to read. So I'm also going to prioritize some novels, but overall, even if I'm not going to set the standard that I won't get through all of them, but I really mainly want to get back into the habit of reading consistently. So I'm going to be sharing more about them in vlogs, also in my newsletter. That community is growing really fast. I just dropped such a good newsletter about how before you know it, you're the person of your dreams, the woman of your dreams, the man of your dreams. And it is really good. I've gotten some incredible feedback on this newsletter, and I think everyone should read it. Even if you don't subscribe to the newsletter, just go read it. I will link it down below. I think it's just such a great take on my mindset going into this whole experience. So anyway, I think it'll encourage you. If you stumbled upon this video, I think it'd be a great read before you dive into these books. So I love you guys. I will see you on the next one. Bye for now.